Hello, this is Ashok Vyas, and with this hello, let me ask you, what are you thinking right now? When I say that, you would be surprised why this question, because most of the time, most of us do not know what we are thinking. It so happens that we think without being aware of what we are thinking, but there are few individuals who we put in the category of writers who not only think what they are thinking, but they manage to imaginatively and creatively put themselves in the mind of somebody else, and then there comes a story which flows in such a way that it attracts a lot of people towards it. And that art of storytelling has been perfected by, or let's say it's near perfection, by one young lady from India. She is none other than Abha Davesar, whose latest book Baby G is getting rave reviews, and her earlier book Mini Planner also brought her on this scene with a very wonderful recognition, and she has been given one of the 25 names from the Time Out New York, 25 people who you should be looking forward to in terms of what happens with them in 2005. That is what Time Out New York has to say. And she was also given New York Foundation of the Arts for a fiction fellowship. And let me also add that one of the titles that is associated with her from different reviews by Cosmopolitan was Fun, Fearless Female. So what is it that she has in her? Let's find out from her. Abha, welcome to our studio.
Namaskar, thank you.
Sure. So let's say you came here to study philosophy.
That's right. I came from India just after I finished high school, and I studied political philosophy, and I wrote a thesis on Nietzsche.
Oh wow! And why did you select that subject for your research?
I think I always knew that I wanted to do philosophy. I wasn't sure which department it was to be found in, but I always questioned what life was about, the meaning of things. From the time I was a little child, I was obsessed with what happens to us after we die, and I thought that studying philosophy will give me all the answers. But after 4 years of studying it, I realized that philosophy is really good at raising the questions and asking the right questions, but I don't know if we can always find the answers.
So then you realize that you don't find answers through philosophy, and you have to do something else which is creative, or you were attracted towards the financial field and you wanted to make more money?
Well, I needed to get a job just because, you know, life is like that. One has to work. But I always used to write, and I decided that I wanted to write books and write fiction, and so I was already writing before I had moved to this country. But I decided to move to New York, have a real job, and write full time 3 years ago.
So it's a very difficult decision to become a full-time writer, and before that you should have enough confidence in yourself that way I would be able to survive. So let's talk about what is it that led you to have that kind of a confidence that you can become a full-time writer?
Well, actually it was literally the book, because my first book had come out when I was still working. I was writing it on the side, and it had been published. But then I took on I had a new job that kept me very busy, and I had no time to write, and I had written about 60 or 80 pages of Baby G by that time, and for 2 years I didn't write anything more because I really didn't have the time, and I felt that I had a novel here that really deserved to be written and needed to be finished, and that unless I took to full-time writing, it was not going to be possible. And so I quit my job, and I focused on writing the book. And I think having the first 60 or 80 pages told me that, you know, that there was something in it. It stayed with me, it kept coming back to me, and I thought I must write it. And that's what just gave me, I don't know if it gave me the confidence, but it gave me the inspiration to do that.
Before talking about Baby G, let's go back to your first novel, which is Mini Planner, which was released as Three of Us in India.
That's
and,
right.
It was published by Penguin for
Yeah.
Indian edition.
Yeah.
And let's talk a little bit about it in terms of, it has a very unusual subject from Indian girl's point of view who comes from India. Most of the writers would write about people who have come from India somehow. That's the way it is happening. And in your novel, the main protagonist is a white person, and not only white person. This is a 25-year-old professional whose inclinations are gay. So how that happened? The reason you chose him to be the main character in your novel?
Right. First of all, I knew that I was going to be writing a novel about New York at that time. And I also wanted to have a corporate setting. And I wanted something that was the pace of New York. And I think because I'm Indian and I'm a woman, I decided that I wanted to write from a completely different viewpoint and more as a challenge and also as a matter of interest to see whether I could do it. And I decided, what is the other extreme? And I said, he's going to be white, he's going to be a man, and he's going to be gay. And, put him in the complete opposite of what I am, and let me see if I can do that. And so I mostly wrote it for fun.
You know what, here let me share with my viewers, I read somewhere that you were not very happy that your parents should read this book. And you, in fact, made sure initially that they don't get this book. And of course later on they read it. So it's kind of censorship reversed, because mostly parents tell their kids not to read this, and here you wrote your first novel and yet you were not keen. Tell us about that side.
Well, I mean, I think, maybe I didn't give my parents enough credit. They're not writers, and I think it's very hard for somebody who is very much based in reality, who does a job that is very realistic in day-to-day, they're doctors, to imagine what the life of imagination is about, to what it is to be a writer. It's not easy for them to, when they write, maybe an email, or they write an essay, or they write a story. If they write something, it's to convey what actually happened. Whereas when I write, I'm writing fiction, and I think sometimes it's hard for other people who don't write fiction to understand that. So I just didn't want them to be shocked, but they were really supportive about my endeavor as a writer. And, they don't really question what I write. They're just happy to read it, and they're proud that I'm doing well. So my misgivings have been put away now.
So congratulations on that. And now let's move to the second novel, Baby G. I think somebody said about this book that this is one of the most erotic books that they have read. And so do you take it as a compliment, or you don't like it?
I think that the book is really about other things. It's this one girl's story, and I think that if it is erotic to this particular reader, the reason is not because there are a lot of scenes in the book that demand it, but because you can really follow the mental processes of the young narrator. You follow her life with her, you follow the people that she's involved with and her relationships, but also there are other layers to the book. There's a certain kind of political backdrop, which is Indian politics in 1990 and the Mandal Commission, that really heightens the tension in the book. I mean, when a city is on fire and there's a lot of political tension, all other kinds of tension are also heightened. And I think that the way people might read this book and consider it an erotic novel is partly because of that larger tension in society at that time.
I would go back to the book, and the Anamika Sharma was the heroine of the book. She is exploring her sexuality at the age of 16 in different ways, which are not considered normal in Indian society.
Right.
So what happens is you put yourself in that mindset where there is adventurous spirit in the young girl of 16, and it raises a lot of questions in people's mind. But let's leave the questions aside for the time. There is a very interesting flow, and the narrative is catchy for the reader and takes her in its flow in a friendly manner. Let's talk about your narrative. It just happened that you managed to come up with the craft of writing fiction, or you really worked on it, and have there been some writers who influenced you on that side?
Well, in this particular story, in this particular book, I really had to work hard to make the flow natural for this young person. First of all, it's not easy to imagine what being 16 is like, because sure, I've been 16 and you've been 16, but my experience was not her experience. And I wanted to make her exploration natural in the sense that she's not she might question it a little bit because she's a very thinking kind of person, but primarily her approach is exploration. There's a certain kind of innocence in that exploration because she doesn't really know where she's going with it. And I wanted to capture that, and that was very hard to do. And I can't really say that I used a particular influence or sought other literature that was doing this, but I read very widely and I read a lot. So if there is any influence, it's everyone. It's the influence of everything I've ever read. It's very hard to pinpoint it.
Yeah, I'm actually staying with the word innocence that you have used, and I was also feeling though what she's doing has nothing to do with the so-called innocence that we have in our mind,
right.
And yet you feel that there is something innocent about this girl doing all those things which we would associate it with evil, if not evil, at least wouldn't put in the good light. That's an interesting combination there. So where do you draw, I mean, as a writer and as an individual, where do you draw the line where innocence changes its color?
Well, I think that that's a very interesting question, and that's something that I wanted the reader to think about, which is why the book is written in the way it is. Because an open reader will go with the flow and then ask himself or herself, I'm not judging it the way I would have thought I'm judging it, and why not? And I think each of us draws that boundary in a different way. And there are reasons to draw that line in different places depending on one's own experience and where one is coming from, and what one sees as ideal. But I want people to, if they read the book, to sort of question that. And I think there is a value to that questioning, because very often we decide that these are where the lines are drawn, and we haven't really questioned why they're drawn there. It's just because somebody else decided to draw them for us.
Right.
And I think that there is something to be said for being open and redrawing those lines or reconsidering those lines or realizing that those lines are a little bit blurred and they're not as clear-cut as we always thought. And if this book does that with even 5% of the people who would otherwise not be open to that, then in my mind it's fantastic.
I think it is fantastic. That compliment you'll have to take with you from here also. You have done a lot of readings, and you came across people from different age group, ranging up to 73, I heard,
yes.
to 14, 15, 16.
Yeah.
Tell us something about how interesting, or do you enjoy going out there, signing your book in Barnes & Nobles or different stores, and how does that make you feel?
Well, what I really enjoy is actually interacting with people who read the book or who come to a reading and hear it and then have questions and engage with the book. And I actually also have a place on my website for people to be able to write me and ask me questions and tell me what they're reading. And a lot of people have communicated with me that way. And it's, writing and reading are interesting things. You write in a vacuum by yourself, and then the reader reads in a vacuum by himself or herself. And there's very rarely any kind of communication after that. And it's very interesting for me to see how different readers are reading the book depending on where they're coming from. And it's actually really a joy to know that a white man of 73 can enjoy the book. Just as much as somebody who's 16 or 17 growing up in Arizona who's of Indian origin, and sometimes say some of the same things. I mean, the 16-year-old says, "Oh, I related to the feelings that I have as a teenager in my daily life growing up sometimes," and an older man tells me, "Well, I remember it took me back to when I was 16, which was a long time ago, and I felt similar things." That is not to say that they have the same interests as Anamika. But the sensation of being an adolescent is common and universal, I think, in some way.
Some of my viewers would also be, if not shocked, at least they will find it strange that the Anamika's interest lies in exploring her sensuality with the women in her house or in the school setting or wherever. Right. Also. So there is this heterosexual tendency that she has. Is that right?
Well, if I can't give away the book for everybody,
that's good,
because things change and a lot of things happen during the course of the book.